Hello again, Year 9. In this weekly lesson we're going to look at using forms on HTML websites. So to begin with, let's look at what's expected of you. Right, in your class or in your team, you're going to see building websites task 2 assignment has been published. Now before we go through the details, let's get a quick overview of what a HTML form is. So for example, if I look at the school website, you'll often see these in websites where the end user can fill in details about themselves or whatever it is and hit submit or send. So what we have is we've got a form, and nested within the form is what we call the form fields. For example, on the school website you can see name, email, subject and a message, and then we've a button, and we click button and it sends it from your device, we call your client device, to the school's web server. So we've got a script sitting on the client device, and it sends it to a server, and that's what we're going to look at today. So we go back to our task, and it clearly explains that you have to write a Replit script that contains a form that will have forename, surname, date of birth, etc, etc. In order to do that, there's two resources provided. There's this notebook, which I'm going to be looking at now, and there's also an external hyperlink for additional information on forms. So between this video and your lesson notes, you should be able to complete this. So your lesson notes, if you open up your OneNote, it explains in detail, it takes you through a tutorial on how to set up your first form before you do the task, and that's where I'm going to begin. So I'm going to look at the syntax for a basic form, and we're working in Replit, so I'm going to go into Replit. I'll go into my Year 9 folder, and I'm going to choose a new Replit, and again, you're working in HTML, give it a sensible name, Lesson 2 forms, and I'm going to create the Replit. Now what it generates here, I'm just going to delete, because all I need is a simple HTML. So I'm going to delete the JavaScript that comes with this, and I'm going to delete the cascading style sheet, and again I don't need that. I'm just copying and pasting from my notes, and you can see here my first input form is in the head, and I'll just change that. I'll call this something like pupil details form. Again, it's not really relevant, I'm just changing the title, pupil details form, and you run it and you'll see the output on screen. So this is the idea. We set up a form, and inside the form comes individual elements. So another tag I'm going to highlight is a comment, and remember, comments are just pieces of English that we put in our scripting that allow other programmers to read. So this is a comment, something sensible. This is a simple example of web form, and again you can correct your spellings, etc. The only person that comments are for, the computer doesn't run the comment, it's just for another programmer. You can see it's got no impact on this. So we're going back and we're going to look at the form elements that I'm going to place in here. What form elements do we have? We have lots. We have text boxes and radio boxes and check boxes and submit buttons and reset buttons and email fields and date and time and month fields, and the list goes on and on. We're going to be introduced to a few. The first one is a text box. So I'm going to copy this tag and I'll explain it. The first thing in the angular brackets of the tag is the type of box that we're doing, and we're calling it a text, and then we're giving it a name. And the name is going to allow me to refer to it. It's what we call a variable name. I could call that anything, and again we'll change it in our script. So I've copied this. First of all, I'll put a simple tag. I'll put in enter your name, and I'm going to close that tag. Not that I really need to, but I'll close the paragraph tag up. And I'll paste in the input type equals text, and I'm going to change that username for the sake of this. I'll call it a pupil name, because I'm doing a pupil form, and I run that, and I've got this details, and someone can type in their name, and that will be assigned into the variable name. Alright, so whoever submits this or sends this form, their name will be assigned into this variable. In this case, it's junk. So for example, if I put in my name and I was to hit submit, Connor would be assigned into this variable name. So that's the basic form element for putting in a text box. And we go back to our tutorial, and there's other examples. The next one we come across is a radio button, and again I'll copy this and I'll explain when we paste it in. The radio button is another form element, And again, you can see here there's just a simple paragraph that's saying it's for gender. And then the input type, only this time it's not text, it's a radio button, and that's the small circle that you can see on screen. Name radio choice, that's the variable name. So if someone ticks this value, boy will be assigned into radio choice, else they'll choose girl. So when I run this here, if I choose that and I type in Connor, boy, when I hit submit, boy will be assigned into radio choice and Connor will be assigned into name. So we go back, that is an example of the radio button that we choose. Another example, I go back and you're going to be asked to work your way through this. You've got your gender, next is your check boxes. And again, I'm going to copy this form and just paste it to help familiarize with the syntax. This time you can see it's a checkbox and we've given a name and we've given a value. So when I run this, if someone chooses Connor, boy, I get a lift. I get a lift will be assigned into the variable name. Name again, that's probably a checkbox choice. It will get in here. So the checkbox choice will equal I get a lift to school. So the final thing, I know there's a few other examples here. There's an example of how you can set up a password. I'm going to look at the submit button and I'm going to copy and paste this, and it's the last form element that I'm going to put in, and I'll put it on a new paragraph. So P, we run that, we've got our submit button. So putting in my name, my gender, I walk to school and I hit submit. And in the real world we would submit that to a web server. Up in the form tag we would tell the computer, up here we would tell the computer what form action, what website or web server we would want to submit it. But for this simple example you don't have to. So that is the syntax. You pause the video, rewind it, familiarize yourself with how to set up this simple form, and then you will be able to do your task. You're going to take a new script or overwrite that script to create a form with forename, surname, date of birth, gender, telephone number, emails and passwords, and you're going to copy your link and upload it to your teacher's team. Any questions, post on the team. Good luck.